What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in today's video, we're going over Polygon Matic as this price is now getting ready to make a strong move, and I think that we all need to be very prepared for it, especially over the next few weeks. So let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into today's video. Now, looking at Matic, of course, we have been tracking basically just sideways movement for the last couple months now. I mean, this has been very impressive, especially considering, what this market is doing. If we just simply look at like the Matic Bitcoin pair, I mean, it is substantially outperforming Bitcoin, and that's, it's for good reason. Of course, I think the fact that we are seeing all of these major companies starting to adopt Matic and use Matic and work with Matic is the reason why we are seeing it outperforming just about every other crypto asset in the top 25 right now. And I think it's well deserved. But although things have been looking good and this sideways movement honestly hasn't been a bad thing with everything else crashing, we do need to be aware that a little bit of a capitulation could be on the way relatively soon, okay? Now, why is that? Well, I would say that it's a couple reasons. First and foremost, this is simply just starting to look corrective. What do I mean by that? Well, typically speaking, whenever we see some type of, bounce to the upside here, right, we want to see growth in the form of waves, but we don't want to see those waves start to overlap too much. Once you start to see things like this, in which you put in, say, maybe your first little wave to the top side here, you come back for your little second wave, then your third wave, of course, back up towards $1.30. Once you start coming back down and setting a low below your previous high at 1, right, if we would have maybe back tested back here and then saw some growth, that would be great, and continued this third wave. But the moment that we started to come back down into these lower levels and see some overlap here between these waves, that just typically starts to say, okay, this probably isn't going to last. This isn't always true. There are times in which we will possibly do this, it is possible, but it simply just becomes less likely once we start to see overlap of this nature. Now, not only that though, we have to consider we are bouncing off of a extremely crucial point of resistance right here, in which if we go all-time high down to this 32-cent low, we came right up to the 618 to 786 zone. This is the macro most important zone on the Fibonacci's, in my opinion. Once you hit the 618 to 786 box, this is either going to act like a wall that'll reject you back down, as we can see right now, or it's going to act like a door that's going to send you up, usually past your all-time high, and in this example, very well back up towards $5 and even 45 cents, right? And so we can see that this was the zone in which did reject us, and so it is no surprise to see this pull back to the downside, and we're currently looking to hold support at this 0.382 Fibonacci level. So the question now becomes, well, which one of these are we going to break first? And I think that's the best way to look at this right now. Are we going to maintain the 0.382 level sitting around 75 cents? Remember, 75 cents is a strong psychological level. Or are we going to break ahead and go up past our 618 to 786 box, breaking about $1.85, right? I think that this is the biggest question right now, and once we start to get a move through one of these directions, it's going to be very telling of what the next couple months looks like for Matic. Personally, it feels like it's more likely that we will get some type of breakdown to the downside here. That is just kind of what these things do, right? They just kind of do see some type of macro return back up to some of these higher levels. Many people call it a dead cat bounce or anything of that nature, just a basic retracement. And off of that basic retracement, we will usually get a pullback to the downside, and then we decide if we're bearish or bullish. Then we decide, do we see the establishment of a higher low and then a continuation, or do we see the loss here, boom, maybe establish some type of trend, and then see another capitulation back to the downside? Personally speaking, I think that if we lose 75 cents, I think we're bound to come back down towards some of these lower levels, maybe as low as even 40 or 50, and set the higher low, and then continue. I think that with everything that's happening with Matic right now, I think the development they're having and the mass adoption they're having, it feels more likely for them to never see 32 again, at least this year and the next coming year. I don't see a reason as to why, with everything going on with Matic, unless Bitcoin literally crashes to like 4 or 5K, as to why Matic would come back down towards 30 cents. I very well could be wrong, but personally, I'm just not so sure that that's going to happen. So what I'm looking out for is that if we lose 75 cents, I'm expecting a pull back down to the macro Fibonacci to the downside, which currently looks like a pull back towards roughly about 53 down to 42 cents. I think coming back down into this little pocket, the 618 to 786 pocket, wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And although that could be a bit of a correction all the way up to 20 to 25%, I think that still could be a very healthy thing for Matic to do, especially in the long term, to be able to see some growth. So overall, what I'm looking at right now is that if we do continue to get rejected off this this macro zone up here, if we're unable to break back above 130 and enter into this zone, I would start to expect the 75-cent level to get lost. And once it's lost, I do believe it to be very likely we first of all come back down towards this little point of resistance around 63, maybe even wick all the way down towards this little 55, 53 level ish here before looking to maybe make some more growth to the top side and retest our luck on a macro wave. Maybe this is our 1, our 2, and then we're maybe looking to go in and put in our 3 wave to the top side here, but it will all come down to holding this 53 to 43 level as support. And so what I would just say right now, guys, is that it's very difficult, of course, to gauge what a crypto is going to do, not only just in this market, but in general, especially when they're going sideways of this nature with a huge move that showed everyone was excited before the FTX news came out. And so whenever we are in a bit of a balance right here, whenever we are a little bit, possible little micro M top or a leaning M top, you have that issue, but you're also looking at, so much, value being added to the ecosystem in the environment sense. And so with that said, I wouldn't really try to predict this too much. I wouldn't be going leverage long. I wouldn't be going leverage short. I personally am just dollar cost averaging in because I think Matic is building and growing better than any of the rest right now. And I think that's going to lead them to see growth into the future. And so I'm just dollar cost averaging and accumulating at some of these lower levels, but I'm very aware that we could see some of these lower levels retested. So I'm saving some cash on the side just in case. And so the biggest thing that I would say right now is that although there could be a bit of a short trade to be made in between these two levels, if we do lose 75, that could be a decent one. But overall, I would say just be very careful right now. Understand that it's going to come down in the macro sense to us either losing 53, 43 or breaking this 180. Whichever one of these we break first is the direction we're likely going to go for, it could be 6 to 8 months, right? So right now, there is no rush. There is still a lot of time to accumulate or just simply prepare. And I'm going to continue to update you guys as this does play out so you can be as prepared as possible. But with that said, that's going to be about it for today's quick update. I just wanted to give you an outline and a breakdown of what are these massive levels we need to be on the watch out for so you can prepare as much as possible. Yes, I'm saying it could go up. Yes, I'm saying it could go down. It's not about being right. It's about being prepared, and I hope you guys feel that way after watching today's video. If you did, you can always let me know by simply just smashing the like button or subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.